Only in Japan.
In this episode, we head to Nakano Broadway, a shopping complex not far from Shinjuku. To every anime or idol lover, this place can seem like paradise, a kind of mini Akihabara. One shop that you'll find all over the place is Mandarake. Today we're in Nakano at Mandarake, an amazing place that's a world of manga. And to help me out with this episode is a professional, Patrick W. Galbraith, author of the Moe Manifesto and the Otaku Encyclopedia. You're really enjoying yourself, aren't you?
I am. I mean, there's manga everywhere, man. This is paradise.
So recently, worldwide, manga and anime is just taking off, isn't it?
I'd say so, yeah. I mean, the manga has so much content that's a little bit different, something you might not imagine as being part of comics culture, that I think it offers kind of a range of material that draws a lot of new people in. They get really excited about it. They want to sort of tell other people about it.
I think it's the stories, the characters that make a big difference. For example, GOKU versus Superman. I mean, they're just so different. Goku's almost flawed, right?
Yeah, Superman is sort of invincible, right? He's super powerful, super strong. He's the sum of Krypton, right?
Well, he never loses.
He never loses. But Goku, on the other hand, does lose. And he knows there's always someone more powerful than him. So he gets his friends together, he trains, he gets stronger, he learns, he grows, he dies, he's reborn. Right. So in a way, I think Goku is a little bit more approachable. He's kind of a little bit more down to earth, a little bit more human. He can be hurt. He can cry, he can laugh.
Right, so I think people can relate more to flawed characters than they can to people who cannot even bleed.
Right, a little bit more human, right? Closer to me.
Although that battle of who would win between Superman and Goku has sort of already been settled.
They did settle it. They said Superman wins because his power level is higher. And I think his power level probably is higher, but the thing is Goku has his crew. And his crew would get together and they would lay the smackdown on Superman as a team, not just one-on-one. That's not the way it would work.
In my mind, anime is basically an animated version of manga, no?
Yeah, I'd say that a lot of the content comes from somewhere else. You have kind of anime based on manga, based on light novels, based on games. But in a way, it's its own thing. I don't think it's just kind of like a lesser version of the original. It's just a different thing. So you look at, the Ghost in the Shell manga, which is its own thing, and then you look at Oshii Mamoru's Ghost in the Shell film, completely different thing. And so you could watch them side by side and see, the major in one way and see the major in another way. And they're sort of side by side in a sort of expanded media world.
So it's not a case where the book is better than the movie?
I don't think you have to compare them. They both exist side by side and they're both enjoyable.
All this talking and we haven't even looked around Mandarake yet. There are toy shops and manga shops. Let's start right here in the used manga shop where Patrick and I are feeling that otaku vibe.
Manga Kung Fu!
How about this? Kiseiju, also known as Parasite, sci-fi horror that takes over your brain. Suck on that!
Do you know Genshiken? You see this guy? This is about ramen. Genshiken is about anime. And otaku. I love anime. I am an otaku.
Well then, take this! One Piece, Sanji! Ruffy! Zoro! Pirates? Action? Adventure? What more do you want?
Well then, how about this? It is Solanine. It stars cute girl who wants to become rock musician.
Mandarake はオールマイティーなオタクショップです。何でもあります。古い漫画、新しい漫画、古いおもちゃ、新しいおもちゃ、とにかくいっぱいありすぎて、もう紹介するのってとても大変です。
Mandarake is a chain of shops with an amazing array of toys and manga through the ages. It's almost like a museum, but where things are for sale. These toys really are collectibles, a way to connect to the past. Patrick has found some old school action figures before they became much higher quality. Mandarake has so many unique items. Patrick finds another one right at the entrance.
So this is for sale for $8,500. And it used to be a gachapon machine. So the capsules are inside of the chest. put the money in here and it comes out here. But it's been changed into a display now. And it's for sale. Look at this guy. I can't believe there's a gachapon machine like this in the world. Only in Japan. Beautiful.
If you missed a manga in a series, you can find it here. Want older? How about 1973? Across the way are these two manga. The price is reflected in their rarity and condition. This one is from 1948, 3 years after the war. This one is a first edition from a known artist. Expensive. Mandarake also has an online store. Contact them in English if you have a question or searching for something. They don't have English manga, but if you want some Japanese ones, this is the place to be. 2 stops from Nakano on the JR Chuo line is WAO World Anime Studio. It's a division of an education and entertainment company that, you guessed it, also makes anime. Kaneko-san works with club animators who aim to create an indie movie called Chuya-den. Right now, they're putting together a promotional video to gather funds. The goal? To produce a feature film based on fan feedback. But first, what exactly is Chuya-den? The story goes like this. Boys and girls face a situation where the sun is about to disappear and they fight yokai, Japanese monsters, to regain it. Day and night yokai do chanbara, sword fighting battle, and the hero characters, Shu, Yuna, and Kenta, have their ups and downs learning along the way. Shu is a boy who is good at everything but doesn't show his will often. He grew up with Yuna, a quiet-looking girl who hates losing. There's also Kenta, Yuna's little brother, and loads of yokai, like Nurari Hyun and Kasha. Let's see how all the story and all these characters are made.
Wow, look at the detail, the way he goes back and forth to check underneath it.
Yeah, absolutely. Drawing the same characters over and over again in different positions, you have to make sure that you're getting the same character quality detail over and over again, and it's very labor intensive.
It is, but when he flips it up and down, you can almost see the action movement.
Absolutely, it's moving right there in front of us. We're seeing it being drawn. Amazing.
This artist is hand-drawing Kenta. Artists work 10 to 12 hours a day, and they need lots of energy, like these Genki drinks. Creators live on them. On the other side is where the digital process begins.
今彼は、キャラクターの修正をしています。他の人が描いた、絵を、キャラクター表と見比べて、どんなちゃんと整えていくっていうような作業をしています。
Each line is digitally entered. It's a time-consuming process. This project is planned to be crowdfunded and a future model on how original anime could be created through social networking. It needs to create a strong connection between creator and fans.
今新しいデモムービーを作っていて、で今までは自分一人で、監督が作っているっていうような形で作業してたんですけれども、今今日紹介いただいたメンバーのとこと一緒に、新しいクオリティのものっていうことで、新しいアニメーションムービーをちょっと今制作している最中ですね。
It's really interesting how WAO has created everything in such a small studio, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the trailer itself was produced just by the director. I mean, he was able to sort of take these tools, these digital tools, and use them effectively to produce his own animation, right? And then get other people involved in the process, each of them taking on more and more tasks.
So he's basically put together a coalition of talented artists to make.
Yeah, and each one of them one day will probably make their own trailers and their own films.
Right, that's how the industry works, isn't it?
Well, I think in this sense, yeah, it's giving people a little bit more, this kind of fast streaming the process, because they're not doing one thing, they're doing more and more tasks using the digital tools. So in a way, it creates more rounded individuals who can do creative action more autonomously. I mean, to be working in the industry, I mean, how many people get the opportunity to do this? Absolutely, and this is really where it's happening, where you can see people kind of getting into it, working their way up, learning the skills in the process.
We tried our hand at digitally coloring the main character, Shu.
A couple of things to keep in mind while you do it, but that's the basic idea. And there's shadow and different kinds of...
It's sort of like coloring by number, but harder. You need to have an accurate touch. It looks easy, but for beginners, it can become a real challenge.
Yes, okay. Boom.
Oh, you missed.
Boom. Boom.
Oh, you made
While we figure this out, take a look at how an anime scene is made. Several hours of work crunched into 20 seconds. There are countless movements needed to make just a 5-second scene. Here are the final results. Kaneko-san explains.
昼夜伝は昼と夜をかけて、子どもたちが妖怪たちと戦う、アクションアニメーションです。太陽の消滅という世界の危機に、直面した少年少女たちが、その中で、成長していくっていうようなストーリーでもあります。彼らが、この出来事の中で、どんなことに気づきどんなふうに成長していくのかは、すごく見どころになると思います。ぜひ、ご支援、よろしくお願いします。
There's a lot of excitement surrounding Japan's subcultures. Manga and anime are only going to grow in popularity, and although we've just scratched the surface of these massive creative industries, there are more and more chances to become a part of it, either as a fan, creator, or otaku reporters on a manga rampage. Just have fun with it.